Imagine driving down a quiet country road in rural Georgia, USA. You see fields, trees, and then something completely out of place. 6 massive granite slabs, standing tall against the sky, almost 20 feet high. They look ancient, like a modern-day Stonehenge. Carved into their surfaces are a set of 10 guidelines for humanity, written in 8 of the world's most common languages. This was the Georgia Guidestones, one of America's strangest and most controversial monuments, and the biggest mystery. For over 40 years, no one knew for sure who built them, or why. Then, one summer night in 2022, an explosion rocked the quiet countryside, and just like that, the Guidestones were gone. So, what was the real story behind this enigmatic structure? Were they a sinister blueprint for a new world order, as some conspiracy theories claimed? A message from a secret society like the or simply a misunderstood plea for peace and harmony with nature? Today, we're going to dig deep into the history, the hidden symbolism, and the explosive end of the Georgia Guidestones to uncover the truth. Get ready, because this story is a wild ride. It all started back in June 1979. A man walked into the office of the Elbert & Granite Finishing Company in Elbert, Georgia, the self-proclaimed granite capital of the world. He introduced himself as Robert C. Christian. He was well-dressed, well-spoken, but he was using a pseudonym. He said he represented a small group of loyal Americans who wanted to commission a monument. A very, very large monument. This wasn't just any project. R.C. Christian had a precise vision. He wanted to build a massive granite structure that could withstand catastrophe, something that would deliver a message to the survivors of a future apocalypse. He had the design, the dimensions, and the text all planned out. The 10 guidelines, or commandments, were to be inscribed on the main stones. These rules covered everything from population control and environmentalism to creating a world government and seeking harmony with the infinite. Joe Fenley, the president of the Granite Company, was understandably skeptical. This was a hugely expensive and complicated project, and the man proposing it was a total mystery. Fenley quoted him an astronomical price, hoping to scare him away. But R.C. Christian didn't even flinch. He simply asked for the name of a local banker he could trust. Fenley sent him to Wyatt Martin, the president of the Granite City Bank. At the bank, Christian revealed the true scale of his ambitions and the funds he had to back them up. He admitted R.C. Christian was a fake name, chosen for its symbolic meaning. He swore Martin to secrecy, making him promise to never reveal his real identity and to destroy all documents related to the project once it was complete. After verifying the substantial funds were legitimate, Martin agreed. The deal was struck. R.C. Christian had his banker, his builder, and his vow of secrecy. The construction of the Georgia Guidestones was about to begin. The sheer scale of the project was mind. It required over 119 tons of granite. The central pillar stood 16 feet tall, with 4 main slabs fanning out around it, each weighing over 20 tons. A capstone, weighing more than 12 tons, sat on top of them all. But this was more than just a pile of rocks. The Guidestones were also a complex astronomical calendar. A hole drilled through the center stone pointed directly to the North Star, Polaris. A slot carved into another slab was aligned to track the solstices and equinoxes, with the sun beaming through it at noon on those specific days. The capstone had a hole that allowed a ray of sunlight to mark the day of the year at noon. It was a compass, a calendar, and a clock, all built from stone. This astronomical alignment led many to believe that the creators were not just ordinary people, but perhaps part of a group with esoteric knowledge like the Freemasons or the Rosicrucians, who often incorporate astronomy and sacred geometry into their work. But it wasn't the astronomical features that caused the most controversy. It was the 10 guidelines carved into the stones. Let's look at what they actually said. The first, and most infamous, was, "Maintained humanity under 500 million in perpetual balance with nature." To put that in perspective, the world population in 1980, when the stones were unveiled, was over 4.4 billion. Today, it's over 8 billion. This one guideline, right at the top, immediately sparked fears. Too many, it sounded like a call for a massive depopulation of the planet, a culling of over 90% of humanity. This became the cornerstone of almost every conspiracy theory surrounding the monument. The other guidelines were just as thought-provoking. Guide reproduction wisely, improving fitness and diversity. Unite humanity with a living new language. Rule, passion, faith, tradition. And all things with tempered reason. Protect people and nations with fair laws and just courts. Let all nations rule internally, resolving external disputes in a world court. Avoid petty laws and useless officials. Balance personal rights with social duties. Prize truth, beauty love, seeking harmony with the infinite. And finally, be not a cancer on the earth. Leave room for nature. Leave room for nature. For some, these were beautiful, aspirational goals for a better world. They saw a message of environmentalism, rationality, and global cooperation. A call for humanity to be better stewards of the planet. But for others, the language was chilling. Guide reproduction wisely sounded like eugenics, a world court, and a new living language. Sounded like the framework for a totalitarian one-world government, the so-called New World Order. The phrase, "be not a cancer on the earth," was seen by some as a dehumanizing statement, painting humanity as a disease that needed to be eradicated. Because the author, Ariane Christian, remained anonymous, the void was filled with speculation. Who would want to deliver such a message? Theories ran wild. Was it a group of loose globalist elites? The Rosicrucians were a popular suspect, as Christian had allegedly mentioned the group and their belief in an age of reason. Others pointed to Ted Turner, the media mogul and founder of CNN, who had a nearby ranch and had publicly expressed concerns about overpopulation. But Turner always denied any involvement. For decades, the Guidestones stood silently in that Georgian field, attracting tourists, mystics, and a growing number of detractors. They were repeatedly vandalized with spray paint, with messages like "death to the New World Order." Local religious leaders condemned them as satanic. Talk show hosts and online influencers fanned the flames of conspiracy, painting the monument as a symbol of a deep state cabal's evil plans. The mystery was the fuel, and the internet was the fire. The controversy reached a fever pitch during the 2022 Georgia gubernatorial primary. One candidate, Candace Taylor, made destroying the Guidestones a central part of her campaign platform, calling Tomas satanic cabal's 10 commandments and vowing to bulldoze them. While she lost the primary, her rhetoric brought national attention to the monument and galvanized its opponents. The Guidestones were no longer just a weird local landmark. They had become a potent symbol in America's escalating culture war. Then, in the early morning hours of July 6, 2022, the unthinkable happened. A powerful explosion ripped through the pre-dawn stillness. Surveillance footage showed an unidentified individual planting an explosive device at the base of the monument and fleeing. The blast was devastating, destroying one of the 4 main slabs and destabilizing the entire structure. The message, written in Swahili and Hindi, was reduced to rubble. For safety reasons, authorities decided to demolish the rest of the monument later that same day. Within 24 hours of the bombing, the Georgia Guidestones were completely gone, leaving only a patch of red Georgian clay where they once stood. The investigation into the bombing is still ongoing, and no suspects have been officially named. The destruction of the Guidestones was, in a way, as mysterious as their creation. So, who was R.C. Christian really? In 2015, a documentary filmmaker claimed to have uncovered his identity. He presented evidence suggesting that R.C. Christian was a man named Herbert H. Kirsta, a doctor from Fort Dodge, Iowa, with known ties to a white supremacist and eugenics advocate named William Shockley. Kirsten was apparently a fan of Thomas Paine and the Rosicrucian philosophy, which seems to align with some of the known details about Christian. While this connection has never been officially confirmed, it adds another dark and complicated layer to the story. If true, it would suggest the Guidestones' message wasn't just about peace and nature, but was rooted in a much more disturbing ideology. In the end, the Georgia Guidestones became a sort of Rorschach test in stone. What you saw depended on what you believed. Was it a guide to a utopian future? Or a threat of dystopian control? A plea for reason? Or a manual for eugenics? A work of art? Or a monument to a sinister agenda? The ambiguity was the point. The man known as R.C. Christian wanted to spark a conversation about humanity's future, and he certainly succeeded. The destruction of the monument didn't end the debate. It just changed its nature. For those who feared the Guidestones, the demolition was a victory, a symbolic tearing down of a perceived evil. For those who saw them as a quirky and thought-provoking landmark, their destruction was a senseless act of vandalism, an attack on free expression. The mystery of who built them may have been partially solved, but the mystery of who destroyed them and what their legacy will ultimately be remains. They were a message from the past about the future that was ultimately erased in the present, and that might just be the most mysterious part of all. What do you think? With the Georgia Guidestones, a misunderstood message of hope, or a sinister warning? Let us know your theories in the comments below. Thanks for joining us on this journey into one of America's greatest modern mysteries. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe for more deep dives into fascinating stories. We'll see you in the next one.